Hey, it's August the 18th, Monday, and you're listening to KROV-FM, the heart and soul of San Antonio. It's Monday, so you're listening to the Now is Money show, and I'm your host, Alan J. Copeland Sr. I'm excited today. I got somebody in the office, in the studio, that I have voted for twice and going to vote some more. And in the studio with me is...
Kristian Carranza. I am running in House District 118. It's the most competitive state House district that we have in Texas last year and this coming year. So I just announced that I'm going to run again this summer, and I'm really excited. I'm 35 years old. I grew up on the south side of San Antonio. I was raised by a single mom. Actually, Carranza is my mom's last name. So,
okay.
and I'm proud to carry it. I carry her journey with me as well. So, growing up on the south side, things were kind of tough. It's a pretty poor part of town. My mom, unfortunately, had a lot of health issues while she was growing up and while I was growing up. So when I got my very first job when I was 16 years old at Bill Miller's Barbecue, which I always feel like is the most San Antonio thing ever, to work at Bill Miller's.
The iced tea, yes.
That's right. And I got that job to help my family with medical bills and regular bills. And, in college, I went to school in Corpus Christi. And I got a call from my mom, and she called to let me know that her health had gotten significantly worse. So I did what I think any daughter would do. I came back home to San Antonio to take care of her. And it's really an experience that has inspired me to become a community organizer. So over the last 10 years, I've been advocating for my community. I've registered over 10,000 voters here in Texas, and I'm running for office for the second time because I believe that my community deserves better leadership.
Right. Now, okay, so I voted for you twice. So what was it, a primary and an election that I voted for you?
That's right. I ran in the primary. It was a two-way primary, and I won by 30 points against somebody who was, an elected official. So I think people really feel the need for change. But House District 118 is one of our very gerrymandered state House districts that we have in Texas.
Okay, now wait a minute. Now that's all in the news, and we're going to talk about that. When you say that, that means that they're messing with the map to try to make sure that they get certain voters?
So there's a couple things that are happening, and it's such a mess. So what the Texas Democrats have recently done over the last month, they've left the state in order to stop the Republicans here in Texas from passing a congressional map, aka trying to be an authoritarian government.
Okay.
So that's at the congressional level,
okay.
right? And so I'm running at the state house level. So and I know most folks know this, but every 10 years we do a census, and a census is just a counting of every living person in the country, and it's used to decide things like political district maps. So after the 2020 census in 2021, when Republican map makers, redrew these districts in Texas at the state level, they targeted House District 118. So if you look at a map of Bexar County and you look at this district, it looks like a backward C if you just look at it.
Okay.
It goes the south side of San Antonio, the part that I'm from, Harlandale area, and it goes all the way down to like Somerset, and it goes all the way towards the east, like East Central ISD, and then it goes all the way up to where IKEA is. You just look at it, and the most egregious part in terms of gerrymandered, what they did in this district is they took apart the Harlandale community. So it used to all just be in House District 118, and then now, just depending on what street you live in, you could live in up to 3 districts. So it would be like, I would be out there, knocking doors, and they'd be like, oh, my cousin, she lives 2 streets down, can you go put a yard sign in her house, in front of her house? And I would say, yeah, I'd love to, but it's not in my district. And so a lot of people oftentimes don't know who they're voting for in this area because it's just, the lines have changed so much.
And that's just changing the laws just to make it convenient. But when they talk about voting for red or blue, mm-hmm. How do they know what you vote for?
So who you vote for is not public information, but if you vote in a primary, for instance, that is public information. So what folks do is they look at your voting history to determine if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, and they also have access to things like, your background. So House District 118 is a Latino majority district. And so where I'm from, Harlandale neighborhood that has historically voted together and historically voted Democratic. So what they're trying to do is they're cutting up the neighborhoods to dilute the voting power in that area in effort to, pack those Democratic Latino voters in other districts that are already safely blue in order to make House District 118 this swingy toss-up district that it is today. Because it used to be a district that Democrats would win by like 10, 15 points. And now it's a true 50-50 district. And that's what happened last year. I lost by a razor-thin margin. It was about 3 points. So that's definitely a district that we're looking at again this year because we know that it's easy for us to take it back. It's just going to take a lot of work.
Being registered to vote is an advantage. But also knowing registered to vote, because I registered to vote. That's one reason why I met you. I met you in the voting line where I could vote. And one reason why I know about that is because I know people that are running for district will come and knock on my door because they know I vote on a regular basis. So they know me. Matter of fact, I had some candidate walk by me and call me by my name. And then I looked, I said, oh, I know somebody that's running for a rent. That's because I vote all the time, and they solicited and try to get to the people that vote all the time.
That's right. District 118, I'm really proud to say this, I raised, as a grassroots fundraiser, I raised more than any other first-time state rep candidate has done before in Texas, and that's because my community believes in me. I went neck and neck with my opponent, Mr. John Lujan, but the thing is, the biggest difference between us in that respect is that he's funded by the Texas Republican Party. They fund his campaign, so he's a rubber stamp for them. And, when they say jump, Lujan says, how high? So that's when you look at his voting record, and it doesn't reflect the values of San Antonians. It doesn't reflect the values of District 118. For me, the reason why I made the actual decision to run for office, because it's a big decision to make, especially as a young person. Like I mentioned, it's the most competitive state house race. So last year was after 4 elementary schools closed down in my neighborhood. So I went to Harlandale schools, I went to Vestal Elementary, Terre Hills Middle School, McCollum High School, go Cowboys. It was spring 2023. 4 elementary schools had to close. The school board had to vote to close them, or else they weren't going to have a Harlandale ISD. So I digged in and I tried to figure out what's going on. And I found more information that Governor Greg Abbott has created this dysfunction with all of our public schools because he's trying to pass these private school vouchers. Right. So he was holding all this money to fund for public schools in order to pass private school vouchers, which he did eventually pass just this past summer. And for folks who may be not as familiar, private school vouchers, it's a $10,000 voucher to give parents a discount, essentially a subsidy, to take their children out of a public school and put them into a private school. But the biggest problem with that is that 92% of our kids in Texas go to public schools. It's about 5 million kids. So you're only helping, subsidize for 8% of children. And the second is that when you look at low-income areas like where I'm from and lots of parts of 118, schools are just more than just public education, right? They're safety nets, and they provide things like before-school programs, after-school programs. Where I went to school, we had free lunch. And these are true neighborhood schools that we depend on. So when you take away a school, it's really going to hurt the entire neighborhood. And we don't have very many private schools. We don't have any private schools actually on the south side that go up to 12th grade. So you're talking about sending a kid 40 minutes away up to the north side to spend a $20,000 tuition. The $10,000 voucher doesn't even cover all of this. Voucher is not helping people from my community, right? And so for me, that was the most egregious vote that John Lujan took against this community, and that's why I'm fighting so hard, and I'm back for more.
Yeah, you're talking about public schools, and so you got public school teachers and all that other things, people that work in public schools and everything.
That's right.
Now, what office are you running for again?
I'm running for State House District 118 for state representative. And I'll also say, we have about close to 10 school districts in 118. And the school districts are often the biggest employers in those areas. So I go to every single school board meeting. I talk to teachers, I talk to support staff, I talk to bus drivers, I talk to administration, I talk to the school board members themselves, superintendents. Nobody wanted vouchers to pass. Nobody at all. So it's not just me, right? It's the people doing the work too.
So how can people get in contact with you and join your campaign? And when is the first time we're going to be able to vote for you?
It'll be this coming spring in the primary. You can vote. The biggest thing people can do to get involved with our campaign is to go to our website. It's just my first name, Kristian4Texas.com, all spelled out. And my name is Kristian with a K. I know some people like look at my name and they're like, what? It's just Kristian4Texas.com. I'm also on Substack now. So I'm going to be doing something a little different that I didn't do last year. And that's really sharing the stories of the people in District 118, hardships, their questions, their needs. And I think doing that really helps people understand why we truly do need new leadership.
Now, you said you're on Hardstack. What did you just say?
Substack.
What is that?
It's what all the young people are doing. It's kind of like a blog/Twitter place that a lot of people are using these days.
Community. We're a community radio station, and you got to do some more community work right after this, don't you?
That's right. I've been a community organizer for over 10 years, and I always say that running for office and being a good candidate is just being a good organizer.
Yes. Tell us how people can get involved.
Well, how folks can get involved with me, they can go to Kristian4Texas.com and get involved that way. I love the work that I do. Community organizing is about helping your neighbors come together to make change. I know that one person can't do it alone, but if we come together and use our voices together, people can't ignore us. And I want to make sure that folks know that running for office doesn't have to be this really hard thing, because it isn't. And I think that a lot of young people or folks from maybe like backgrounds like mine feel like they don't have the resources to run for office, and I want to say that that's not true. A lot of folks think that you have to be independently wealthy or go into a lot of debt to run for office. This is what I did. I went to my credit union and I opened up a business account for $5. That's the most money I've spent on my campaign. Yeah, I opened up that business account and I started to fundraise into it. You would be surprised how many people in your network, amongst your family and your friends and your colleagues, want to see you succeed. And so what I did was I leaned on my community, the same community that's helped me since I was a kid. And I know that running for office is about giving back to them. So running for office, it's something that I think folks don't understand that there are a lot of resources out there for. It doesn't have to be this thing that makes people go into debt. It's all about fundraising and making sure that you're doing that the right way.
Right, yeah, and those flyers that you have are very impressive.
Thank you, yeah.
Because it came to my house, because if you register to vote, it come to your house.
That's right, yes. And I mean, all of the issues and the messaging that's in the campaign, that's all comes from the people that I talk to at the doors. You just kind of get a feel for what is most important in your community, and you use that and you talk about that.
So before you leave, tell us some more. You got something else you have on your mind that you want to talk to us about?
Well, I'm really excited to see how many people are supporting the campaign, and I just want to make sure folks know that this is a community effort. It's not too early to get involved with any campaign. It's not too early to get involved with the Democratic Party. If you're interested, even if you have a little inkling of I want to get involved, I want to volunteer, maybe I don't have a lot of time, there is something for everybody. We do phone banking where folks call voters. We do text banking where they text voters. We knock on doors. You can have that face-to-face interaction. We have internships on my campaign. So there's so many ways to get involved.
Well, I'm not a big type of protester for people that don't register to vote, because all those people that are marching, that ain't doing no good. If you register to vote and you vote, at least on your mind, and I'm not going to tell you what to vote for, I'm just going to tell you to vote. So those people that are posting or marching right now but ain't registered to vote,
you gotta register to vote. You gotta vote. You gotta live your values. That's what I always say.
That's good. Good. Now, I appreciate it. You got to come back on the show. We're going to talk about it one more time. But again, what's your website?
Kristian4Texas.com. And it's Kristian with the K, all spelled out. Kristian4Texas.com.
And when's the last date to register for your next voting?
So you have them up until March. So you have a lot of time.
Yeah, but you got to do it. You should do it now.
Yeah, do it now. Get it over with.
Yeah. Because it's not that hard to do.
It's not. It takes a literal minute.
You're listening to KROV-FM, the Heart and Soul of San Antonio. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate it.
And you go on and help somebody else too. We're gonna have a good time on KROV-FM, the Heart and Soul of San Antonio.